let's talk a little bit about your new books. I'm
Sure.
really excited. You know, The Magic of Surrender, and secondary title, Finding the Courage to Let Go. This is so powerful. I just had a book come out, my second book last June, called Becoming Fierce, with one of the chapters being the duality of surrender. So this is a very near and dear topic to my life. It has profoundly affected my journey. So share a little bit about the essence of this book and what is the importance of surrender?
Look, I think surrender is the most important thing that we can do as human beings in this lifetime. I think it's really why we're born. We're born really life is a process of surrender. We're here to surrender to who and ultimately what we truly are, which is infinite, which is divine consciousness, which is pure consciousness, the true essence of our nature. And so I think in our culture today, there is this misconception of surrender, this idea that surrender is weak, that surrender is passive, that surrender means giving up, that surrender means waving the white flag, that surrender means you won't manifest your goals, dreams, and desires, that surrender means you're going to get left behind, you're going to be a victim, you're going to be a doormat. Like, who the hell would want to surrender if that's what surrender, we think surrender means, that surrender is weakness, that you're going to get less in life if you surrender. And I'm actually saying, no, if you really surrender, what if you didn't get less in life, but what if you actually got more? Maybe not what you intended or what you planned or what you expected or what you wanted, but what if it was better than what you could have planned and calculated with your ego's imagination and logic? And so to me, surrender is the most powerful thing that we can do. It's the real secret to manifestation. Surrender is the key to the next level of our lives. When I look at the truly great ones, whether it's Jesus, whether it's Buddha, whether it's Gandhi, whether it's Mandela, whether it's Mother Teresa, whether it's Bob Marley, whether it's Muhammad Ali, whether it's Bruce Lee, none of which were like weak human beings. At some point, I think they all reached the point of their life where they surrendered. At some point, they got to that moment where they surrendered themselves to the divine, to the innate intelligence, to their soul, to the purpose that was bigger than themselves. And in that surrender, they transcended their human limitation and they tapped into another dimension of potential of life. And that's when life itself began to use them and manifest through them and express through them. And I think that's when the magic and the miracles truly happened through them in ways that they could not have planned. Movements were started, revolutions happened that was beyond just a human personal sense of power. And so surrender is letting go of control, or I should say the illusion that we are even in control in the first place. Surrender is when we stop trying to force and manipulate life to fit our limited idea of how we think it is, should be, and how we think it could be, and who we think we should be. Surrender is taking the limitations off of life so that we can be available and open and receptive to allow life to show us, life to lead us, life to guide us. And I think that's when the magic happens. And so, the old paradigm of living and creating and manifesting was a more ego-based model of living life and creating life, like know what you want, get clear on what you want, and go make it happen. And I say, you might get everything that you thought you wanted. And you can create from the level of the ego. It's you can create amazing things, but it will often be limited because the ego itself, nothing wrong with the ego, but if you're just creating from the lens of the ego is conditioned, and the ego is limited in its perspective and sense of understanding because the ego is conditioned by the past. So whatever we create leading from the lens of the ego will be limited to the past in some way. And you might achieve what you thought you wanted only to realize that what you thought you wanted was just what you thought you wanted based on who you thought you were. But if you're not really in touch with the real sense of like, who am I really? Then often our goals and the life we think can be projections of unmet needs from childhood, And so for me, the question in surrender becomes not what do I want, I as a limited, separate sense of self, but it becomes more about what is it that life is seeking to express to me? What is it that the divine is seeking to manifest to me? What is it that God is seeking to express to me? What is it that my soul is seeking to manifest? And what is the deepest impulse of truth that is seeking to express, and to align yourself with that deeper intelligence? And then you can bring your personality and the ego and the mind and logic and marketing in alignment, in sync with the deeper flow. And then you give 100%, but you move forward without being attached to the outcome and the result. And so that's a bit of the essence of true surrender.